They turned her skin to leather while she lived. The tanning punishment for Mongol warrior women. Imagine being submerged alive into a vat of chemicals, feeling your skin slowly dissolving, transforming into leather over 23 agonizing days while you remain fully conscious the entire time. Now imagine that instead of screaming, you spend those 3 weeks singing war songs, refusing to break even as your body literally turns into armor before your eyes. This isn't some medieval horror story or urban legend. This actually happened in 1238 to one of the most decorated generals in the Mongol Empire, a woman who led 10,000 cavalry into battle and happened to be Genghis Khan's own granddaughter. Her name was Alaqai. And what the Mongols did to her after she lost a single battle is so disturbing that UNESCO tried to bury the evidence for over 40 years. The Soviet Union classified the archaeological proof. Historians dismissed the accounts as propaganda. And even today, the Mongolian government refuses to acknowledge this chapter of their history. But the forensic evidence doesn't lie. And neither do the chronicles written by 3 separate cultures, all describing the exact same horrifying process. So what exactly was this punishment? And why did the Mongols consider it merciful? Let me break down the chemical nightmare that medieval shamans somehow perfected 700 years before modern science. The Mongols called it Holek, which translates to skin changing. And it was reserved exclusively for female military commanders who failed in battle, especially those from noble bloodlines, while male generals who lost battles got a quick death by bowstring around the neck. Women faced something far worse, a transformation that would take weeks and required sophisticated medical knowledge that shouldn't have existed in the 13th century. The process had 3 distinct stages, each more calculated and cruel than the last. Stage 1 lasted 72 hours and involved submersion in a solution of quicklime and water kept at precisely body temperature. Quicklime is calcium oxide, the same stuff that dissolves organic tissue, and when mixed with water, it creates an intensely caustic solution that burns away fat and outer skin layers. But here's the twisted genius. The Mongols knew that if the solution was too hot, the victim would die from shock, so they maintained it at body temperature to maximize suffering while preventing death. Over 3 days, this bath peeled away the entire outer layer of skin, the epidermis, leaving every single nerve ending completely exposed. Persian historian Juvayni, writing just 22 years after these events, recorded that the cries could be heard across the entire camp. Imagine feeling your skin dissolving inch by inch, watching it slough off your arms and legs, knowing this is only the beginning. Stage 2 is where it gets truly nightmarish. After 72 hours, once the outer skin was gone, the victim was transferred into a second vat containing oak bark extract, pure tannic acid mixed with animal fats, and left there for 18 to 21 days. This is the exact same chemical process used to turn animal hide into leather, except it was being performed on a living human being. Tannic acid molecules bond with collagen proteins in the dermis, the middle layer of skin, and at body temperature this penetration happens slowly, working from the outside in. The arms and legs transformed first, then gradually the torso. Victims were fully conscious, watching their own limbs turn from flesh-colored to brown-gray leather over the course of days. The tissue was literally mummifying while blood still flowed through their veins. But wait, it gets worse. The Mongols knew that under normal circumstances, victims would die from infection or organ failure long before the transformation completed, so they brought in specialists, female shamans called Yudagan, the most spiritually powerful figures in Mongol society, to artificially extend life. These women administered herbal stimulants to keep the heart beating, provided regular water to prevent dehydration, and force-fed victims a paste made from liver, which is incredibly rich in vitamin K. Now here's where it gets absolutely insane. Vitamin K wasn't identified by science until 1929. But somehow these 13th century shamans knew that liver and certain herbs prevented internal bleeding by promoting blood clotting. The declassified Soviet forensic reports from 2003 found synthetic vitamin K analogs in the tissue samples, proving the Mongols were deliberately preventing victims from bleeding out internally. This wasn't just torture. This was sophisticated medical intervention designed to maximize suffering. The forensic analysis estimated that subjects remained alive for a minimum of 23 days, maximum 26 days. Nerve endings died gradually as the tannin penetrated deeper, so pain faded slowly from the extremities inward, but consciousness remained. 23 to 26 days of being aware, watching your body transform, feeling sensation disappear inch by inch. And here's the part that made even hardened Soviet pathologists recoil. The Yudegan shamans didn't see this as punishment at all. According to passages from the secret history of the Mongols that weren't translated until the 1960s, they called the ritual becoming the eternal guardian. The Mongols genuinely believed they were giving failed generals a chance at redemption, transforming them into literal protective armor that would be carried into future battles. And they actually did use the bodies afterward. Multiple chronicles confirm that the preserved remains were mounted on poles and carried at the front of Mongol armies as psychological warfare. Armenian monks recorded that Georgian forces would flee before battles even began because they couldn't bear to look upon the leather women. One monk wrote that some of the preserved bodies still had awareness in their eyes, though whether that's literal truth or the trauma of witnessing such things is impossible to know. Which brings us back to Alaqai. In 1238, this 31-year-old granddaughter of Genghis Khan, a decorated cavalry commander who had won battles across Central Asia, made a tactical error in the Caucasus Mountains. She divided her forces in unfamiliar terrain near modern-day Tbilisi, and a Georgian prince named Ivan Makhargarjeli was waiting with an ambush. 7,000 of her 10,000 warriors died in that valley. Losing a battle wasn't automatically a death sentence in Mongol culture, but losing 70% of your army in an avoidable ambush when you're the founder's granddaughter? There was only one response. The Armenian chronicle records that she didn't weep or beg when sentence was pronounced. She removed her own armor and walked to the preparation tent. And then for 19 days, her voice carried across the valley, not screaming but singing war chants. On day 13, her voice grew weaker. On day 17, it became a whisper. On day 19, it stopped. The shamans kept her body preserved for 4 more days until the transformation was completed. 19 days of choosing to sing instead of scream. The practice was finally abolished in 1259, not because it was too cruel, but because it was too effective. Kublai Khan argued that by the 1250s, Mongol women were increasingly refusing military commands because they feared this fate more than death itself. The punishment had become so terrifying it was actually undermining military effectiveness. And when Soviet archaeologists found the ceremonial chamber in 1961 with the bronze restraints, the ceramic vat still containing tannin deposits, and the preserved human skin mounted on wooden frames, UNESCO decided the world wasn't ready for the truth. They buried it for 42 years. No memorials exist in Mongolia today. No museum exhibits about Alaqai or the Yudegan shamans. Just forensic reports, chronicles from 3 different cultures, and bones that hold secrets someone decided we shouldn't know.